Sorry, I just continue to disassociate. What was I saying? Let me show you my backpacks. I am very excited to be knitting on, knitting? What? No, that's not what I meant.
You know what? I'll just say this. The grocery store gonna get mad at me if I complain about the carts not being returned.
Wait, what?
Like if I come on the podcast and complain about something or talk about something,
Yeah.
am I supposed to talk about no people, places, or things while I'm here?
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you're having a really good day so far. If you're new here, my name is Taylor. I come to you from Baltimore City, Maryland, and here on my YouTube channel, I feature content that is generally focused on knitting and spinning. In this week's episode of what I call the Thread to Mend podcast, I thought I'd share with you what I'm currently knitting. I would talk about my Sephora haul because some of you might be interested. And my new backpack came in the mail, so I thought I would share that to you as well. Clearly hyper-focused on consumption in this episode, but that is what distracted me from the upcoming election. We all know the results of that, and I am at a loss of words on that subject. I am in shock still, but I am not at all surprised. I saw the writing on the wall in 2016, when I was invested in the outcome of the Democratic primary, when Bernie Sanders was running against many candidates for the Democratic ticket, and the consequences of that primary kind of devastated me since then, and I've just been somewhat fuming in the background of my life on the state of the Democratic Party as a whole. And sadly, I don't think I'm alone in that. I think that a lot of people chose the dark side.
What I want my liberal friends, and I love my libs out there, what I want them to understand is that the right didn't actually defeat them. Liberals and Democratic Party elites who made it their project, their primary project. It's not defeating Donald Trump over the past basically decade. Their primary project was defeating the left-wing Bernie Sanders movement that was grassroots and populist, and especially the 2016 class first iteration. They made that their project, and they succeeded in that. I mean, it's crushed, it's done, right? There's no clear successor. Listen, maybe I'll be wrong. I've been wrong about a lot, but I don't see it. You all defeated the movement that had a chance to be a competing vision.
And it's saddening to think that we have to go through 4 more years of Trump here in the US. Hopefully only 4 more years as it is, but that's happening. And I'll probably just leave it at that. I know everyone has their own opinions here online, and this is just a safe space for me to share mine. So if you disagree fundamentally with my perspective, you don't have to be here. So I wish you well. And if you care to continue listening to me talk about knitting, then that's great, because that's what I'm here to do right now. For the most part, I'm only capable of disassociating. I've thought about so many things I would love to share with the internet on the subject of this election and the DNC as a political actor, and all of my personal opinions about how it has failed the public. But I don't think that's why anyone's here right now, and so we're not gonna do that today. But who knows what might be at the end of this video. And there were a couple channels I thought I would recommend here on YouTube that I have enjoyed listening to the last few days. One is a new YouTube channel to me. It's something I just discovered because of some like YouTube drama that I have been following. It's a podcast called Do Not Worry Podcast.
Do not worry.
It is a cast of characters out in Lebanon who are currently being bombarded daily, which is quite sad. Not a fan of that. The few hours that I've consumed of it the last day or so, I really enjoyed catching up on their content there. And then I've been listening to, when I feel in the mood for political commentary, the one political commentary channel that I can consume is The Majority Report with Sam Cedar. I very much value Sam Cedar's perspective on the world, and his other co-hosts. I enjoy them. They are comforting to me because I feel less alone with my perspective and my thoughts on things.
This needs to be a complete reimagining of what Democrats offer people. A New Deal style, bold economic vision, a charismatic, populist, progressive, leftist leader emerging in the 2028 primary is the outcome on the presidential level that we need to engender. On the local level, we need to be building up resistance groups and leftist organizations to put forward our candidates. That is all work that we're going to begin doing in the aftermath of this. Learn something. And let's not throw Harrison Walls under the bus, who, in the end of the day, did the best they could with the set of circumstances.
The truth is, like, the only bright side of this is that, like, if they would have been able to win with the Cheney route, it would have meant, like, I don't know if there's a lot of room for like grassroots political action. This kind of resounding loss not only shows that there's room for it, there is a need for it, because these people cannot be trusted to, say, maintain the advances that have been won by previous rights movements even.
That's the content I've enjoyed while grieving the loss of this election. I feel a lot of feelings about this, but I am not at all surprised at the way things went, given the circumstances. So that's that on that. And we will move on. We will move on to what I've been making, which is one finished and complete ends woven in Wanderer slipper by Andrew Mowry. This is a pattern I've knit several times before, I should say a few times before, but this is my fourth pair. All three other pairs have completely worn out. I don't know that I chose the right yarn then. I think I chose the right yarn now, and I did substitute the main color for, is this the main color? I'm not sure which one in the pattern, but you can see the dark color I substituted. I was talking last week about using Hairstyle Designs Nightshades, and I caked that skein up, and in the process it broke, and I thought this is a terrible idea to use such a delicate spun yarn for something worn underfoot. And instead I went with a fingering weight skein of yarn I had in my stash. I hadn't even considered because of its fingering weight gauge, and I held it double, and it's perfect. It's Stephen and Penelope's bicycle yarn, which is a 2-ply fingering weight merino wool yarn, and it worked quite well. So I'm very happy with that. I'm sure I'll have enough to knit the second of 2 slippers, and I have 2 other skeins of the same base, the bicycle base, in my stash. I decided I'm going to knit into a pair of Wanderers for myself. So I think that this is like such a nice high contrast combo of a monochrome moment. It actually looks somewhat nice with what I'm wearing. I love these skeins together, and I think I'm going to really like them in a pair of Wanderer slippers for myself. So this was really, really fun. I'm excited to cast on another, like, rather soon. I do want to knit on some of my larger garments before I jump right into another mukluk pattern, but I will be casting on the second first before I cast on the body of my Chained Oblivion, which I've been knitting on for several months now. I don't know if I have it nearby, but you've all seen my whips before, so I'm not going to get into my whips today. But it's almost mid-November, which means we have like 6 weeks till year end, and I feel that I have so much to do. I would like to complete a couple projects before the end of December so that I can start January with a bit of a clean slate. And I think that this is my highest priority. I'll probably cast these on in January as a reward to myself for completing a larger project, but I would like to knit the Chained Oblivion ASAP. I would also like to finish Gudrun Johnston's Ridgie's cardigan ASAP. Those are 2 big projects, like volume big projects that I have going on at the same time as my crochet cardigan project. I've also decided, without mentioning it, I think that my crochet cardigan I might change to be a pullover, mostly because I have been knitting cardigans exclusively in the last year or 2. That's not true. That's an exaggeration. But I have my Kingston cardigan, my Bookkeeper cardigan, my Better Waverly cardigan. Those are like 3 staples in my wardrobe. And then I also I have so many cardigans, and a lot of the time I struggle to like put an outfit together. And one thing I like about a pullover is like it's just one piece. You make sure that it matches the bottom and you're good to go. And I feel like because this is such a, like, I'll show you again my yarn combination, but because this is such a loud project, it's a little chaotic. Granny squares by their very nature are a little chaotic of a design. I thought it'd probably be better if I didn't have to match it with anything and instead make it like a deep V type of outer wear thing, something to just throw over a t-shirt or a tank top and be cozy comfy. So that's my plan for that crochet project. I've also really not been working on it much. I think what I want to do is during a football game each Sunday, just complete 1 square. And that is like kind of the bare minimum, like 1 square a week would at least be some progress. I haven't made any squares since I recorded my how to crochet a granny square video. That's what I've been making. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been thinking about. But I thought since we're here, and the Sephora sale ends today, Sunday, November 11th. I thought I would share with you my first impressions on the few things that I purchased while at a discount. And the majority of them are hair products. This I mentioned a week or so ago. No, much longer than that. I bought it before the sale because I was stupid and impulsive and I felt like I needed to have it. That is the Crown Affair leave-in conditioner and dry shampoo combo. I have had the chance to use this and I wanted to share my thoughts on it. Number 1, the leave-in conditioner for the price and the volume, unless you have fine hair and are looking for a very lightweight leave-in conditioner that feels like it doesn't exist, you don't need it. It's not groundbreaking. I feel like the volume of product I need for the volume of hair I have, it's just inefficient. It's not a bad product. It's actually a really, really great product. If you have fine, thin hair, it's not gonna weigh your hair down. It's not gonna make it look greasy. Like I said, in my hair, which is quite frizzy and like medium weight, kind of curly, but more so wavy than curly. I guess it has some curl to it, some natural curl, but it just doesn't feel like the product for me, but I feel like it could be the product for you. And I would recommend this combo gift set still if you're looking for a lightweight leave-in conditioner that doesn't weigh your hair down and doesn't make your hair feel greasy. I feel like it definitely does that. It's just not something that I personally benefit from the most. And so I won't repurchase it, only because of the price point. I think it smells nice. The dry shampoo has much more of a fragrance to it than the leave-in conditioner. The leave-in conditioner is fine, but it's very, very light. It's not at all like overwhelming in any way at all. It's a little underwhelming, to be honest. I mostly shower in the evening. Sometimes on the weekend I shower in the morning, but I generally make time to bathe and wash my hair at night. And so I will put my hair products in while wet, and then I will blow dry my bangs so that they set appropriately. And I go to bed with wet hair piled up into a hair clip on my head. I know it's not good to go to bed with wet hair, but that's what I do. Because I layer so much skincare on my face at night, and a lot of them are like very emollient, like my bangs will be dirty before I wake up in the morning, even though I just washed my hair. So I find that applying this after my hair is like freshly cleaned and washed before bed is probably the best use of this particular product. And Valerie gave me that tip. She said, put dry shampoo in your hair when it's clean and it won't even get dirty, which is kind of the theory. And I agree. I think it's a great idea and I like it so far. This is not the dry shampoo for when I'm styling my hair, when I am leaving the house in the morning. This is not the dry shampoo for that. This is the dry shampoo for at night before bed. And I'll leave it at that. The dry shampoo that I still use, and I'm glad I just got a second canister of it, is Living Proof's Perfect Hair Day Advanced Clean Dry Shampoo. It's the Advanced Clean Dry Shampoo that I like the most. You just pull your hair back, you get a little spritz, and it's just the perfect dry shampoo. I do like to kind of brush and blow dry shampoo out of my hair, but you don't even really have to with this. I feel like it's not too like white casty, but it can be at times. So this is just my preferred dry shampoo. I'm over the smell. The fragrance is not my favorite. I feel like it used to be better than it is now. I don't know if my nose has changed or the fragrance has changed, but I remember Living Proof's products used to be a really good smell good product to me, and it no longer is. But this is a freebie I got from Ulta for my birthday back in June, and I was lucky to redeem 500 points for another one of these and a few other samples from Living Proof. So I was really happy to get this for free and to have a backup. Okay, the things that I actually bought on sale. The Oribe Invisible Defense Universal Protection Spray. Not to be confused with Oribe's Royal Blowout Heat Styling Spray. These are different products. This is the mini, this is the full size. The bottle is the same, but they are different. The Royal Blowout Styling Spray, which is actually what I bought last year, is weird. It makes your hair very greasy looking. So if you have fine, thin hair, you do not want the Royal Blowout Heat Styling Spray. I think it might be perfect for those of you who like flat iron your hair and you want it to look super sleek and super like slinky. It doesn't make your hair look greasy in a way where it's all stuck together, but it does make it look very slick. And that can translate to greasy depending on the style. I really liked that product, and I thought I was going to buy the big bottle of it, but the price tag of like $77 was so daunting. I thought, no ma'am. And I saw somebody recommend this Invisible Defense Universal Protection Spray, and this was priced at only $44. And I don't know why one is more than the other, but because it was recommended, I blind bought this and I have no regrets. It is also a heat protection spray, and it's very lightweight. This does not make my hair greasy at all. In fact, I'm wearing it in my hair today, and I feel like I have been able to apply a lot of product in my hair without it it feeling greasy. The second product I bought was also from Orbe. It is their Gold Lust Nourishing Hair Oil. And I did buy the big bottle, which was an investment. I think this was $65 full price, which feels insane. I really like it. I really like this product because it is not, I'll actually show you the consistency. Just one pump. It is not like that thick type of oil product you can find sometimes. It does feel like, even though it definitely has dimethicone and it is like a dimethicone based type of product, I love the smell of Orbe products so much. But I find that this oil is much more lightweight than like other hair oil products on the market. Would it be great for fine or thin hair? I don't know that any oil product is. I feel like fine thin hair might benefit more from like a spray product than like a oil, but I do very much like this product, and I hope I'm able to stretch that bottle. I've put like 4 pumps now into my hair today just to try to keep it from getting frizzy, but today's the first day that I've like used it exclusively, like those 2 products together, and I'm happy. I'm very happy that I bought them and I have no regrets. So there's that on that. The other product that I was given that I really like and that I'm planning to buy with my $10 coupon is Moroccan Oil's Smoothing Lotion. This is the mini. It's 1 ounce. No, it's 2.5 ounces. They have a larger pump bottle for better price per ounce, but I like the size of this. I feel like it's more appropriate for my lifestyle because I very often do heat style my hair, and I want to be able to apply a heat protectant near my scalp where I blow dry my bangs. I don't typically like to apply creams into my hair, except for when I plan to wear my hair curly, which is how I'm wearing it today, but I didn't use this. I like this product. I like this product. I like the smell. I like the way it makes my hair look. And I'm actually running low on this, and I don't run low on hair products given to me for review typically. So love it so much. And then there's 2 more things that I bought. So I bought the 2 Orbe products for my hair, and I bought 1 skincare product. This is from the brand The Outset. It's their exfoliating caffeine micro polish. Sorry, my light is blowing everything out today. But this was recommended by Allie Glines in her October favorites video. She, I think, got it for review in PR and actually liked it and thought she would mention it. I will say that it is $34, which is more than I typically spend on skincare. But I've been wanting a exfoliant product that I enjoy. I think I talked about other exfoliant products well over a year ago now, and I wasn't a huge fan. This has very small particles, like I think they are perlite based or something like that. So it does give you a nice scrub, but the base of this product is very rich and creamy and emollient and not at all drying. My skin feels more hydrated and more plump having used this than not. So like I don't rinse it off and feel like my skin is stripped and dry and cracking and peeling. I feel like my skin is like more conditioned than before. And the little like gritty exfoliating things I think will really help in just loosening and removing the dead skin that I feel like accumulates on my skin overnight because I use tretinoin. I feel like I have a lot of skin shedding. And now that I've been using tretinoin for well over a year, it isn't hypersensitive to exfoliation like it once was. So I'm really excited to have this and to use this. I want to try to use it at least once a week, maybe twice a week, alternating other chemical exfoliants at night, which I alternate with my tretinoin. But I really like this. And I wish I didn't have it on my hand now that my cat is on my lap. One resolution that I made with myself was that I would not purchase any cream products. In fact, I didn't really want to buy any cosmetic products, but so many people recommended this eyeshadow palette, and I felt like now was the time. If I didn't buy it on sale, I wouldn't buy it at all. And I decided to purchase Makeup by Mario's, what's this called? Master Mattes The Neutrals. So this is a very neutral eyeshadow palette with matte shadows. I'm not sure that this is the most accurate representation of the colors, but I've been using this last couple days and I'm very happy with the use of it. I use the dark brown as my eyeliner, and then I kind of touch up the lower portions of that with the dark, with the black. I don't typically use black liner or black shadow, but I find that this one in particular makes a really, really good setting powder for eyeliner. I feel like it's just the best so far that I've used. And a lot of the times I use Pat McGrath eyeshadows. I felt like this palette is everything I've ever needed in an eyeshadow palette, and I'm really glad to have it, even though I'm stretching my budget. Sorry, I just continue to disassociate. What was I saying? Let me show you my backpacks. I am very excited to be knitting on, knitting? What? No, that's not what I meant. Last week I showed you my new Fjallraven Kanken backpack. I wasn't sure that I liked the color, but it turns out I do love the color because it matches almost identically to my thrift store fleece zip up. It is reversible. It has pockets on the inside and the outside. This is my favorite jacket to wear when I roller skate because I can sweat and not feel itchy. I love this jacket so, so much. And I'm glad to have a jacket that matches it perfectly because I do love a matchy-matchy moment. My other top outerwear garment is this windbreaker that I found at Marshall's. Obsessed. This is my favorite jacket. And my new Kanken backpack, it doesn't match perfectly. In fact, it's quite a different color. But interestingly, the straps are a bit different from the main color of the bag itself, and those happen to match my jacket almost perfectly. So it's still matchy-matchy with a subtle bit of contrast. The bag shows up way more like green on camera. It's very much like army green. Like army green is the green it gives. I find it impossible to photograph and give a true sense of the color, but it's just an army green bag. This is the one I've switched over to for my day-to-day because it's like fresh and new and clean, and I also have been wearing this jacket more now that it's cooler outside, and I do like to wear wool sweaters throughout the day. I'll throw this on in the morning when it's cold and then, you know, whatever. But that's my current jacket bag moment. That is it for this week's episode of the Thread to Men podcast. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into this week's episode, let me know in a comment below with the crazy eyes face emoji, because that's how I feel. I don't know how you feel. I'd love to know how you're feeling right now. But that's it. If you want to find me on social media, my name is TAYLOREOWEN on Ravelry and Instagram. You can find me over on TikTok as Taylor Knits. I want to thank you again so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and that you take care.
I feel compelled to say it's not personal, but I do feel like this is dangerous, what I saw yesterday. You know, to downplay Trump's threat to this country right now in this moment for me, this is not an unaligned or an independent opinion. To me, this is to the right of Nikki Haley voters. This is, I saw this on Twitter, Anna Kasparian here basically saying, reacting to, was it, no, this wasn't J.D. Vance's comments. This was basically a conversation about fascism. I didn't have the full context.
Earlier, they were listening to Mika Brzezinski on The View, who got emotional talking about Trump's threat as a fascist presence in the U.S. and what might happen if he becomes elected.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's where this stemmed from, where they started to talk about fascism.
All right, here we go.
Trump is deeply racist and he says deeply racist things, okay? I want to make a distinction between Donald Trump, the person who says and does racist things, and the notion of a fascist. Because look, if we're just going to use fascist toward anyone we dislike, all right, then the word doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay, what do you want me to say, Anna? You want me to say wannabe dictator?
Sure, you can say wannabe dictator, but I don't even think he wants to be a dictator.
Of course he does. That's what you do when you lose an election and you go, oh, I got fake electors, and I'd like to terminate the Constitution and bring out the tanks and use martial law against American citizens and shoot protesters. I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
But was he able to do those things?
First of all, his entire cabinet had to threaten, not cabinet, administration, his White House team had to say, we're all going to mass resign if you roll out tanks against American citizens.
Okay, so if you think he's a fascist, wouldn't that justify taking physical action against him?
No, because that doesn't help. That devolves us further into fascism.
Whoa, what a straw man.
Exactly.
Can you pause it, actually?
There's a difference between somebody...
I guess I didn't see that part, but what, I mean...
If he's a fascist, why aren't you, what is the guy who tried to kill Hitler? Ribbentrop or something like that?
Right.
No,
I mean,
Ribbentrop. Yeah,
it's a way to continue to delegitimize what Cenk is saying there, and Cenk is absolutely right. I mean, look, if she wants a definition, fascism is a political ideology that started, it's an outgrowth of Mussolini and Hitler's reigns at the start of the 20th century. You can characterize it as highly militaristic, nationalistic, anti-democratic, a political movement that encourages violence against leftists, against LGBTQ people, minority groups. Sorry, what'd you say, Brandon?
I said marginalized groups. Yeah, go ahead.
Marginalized groups, right? Or anyone that's opposing you, and that can involve like a consolidation of power for the wealthy. I mean, the definitions of fascism are quite well established, but forced deportation, like that's unequivocally what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are proposing there, is unequivocally a fascist policy. So to
it's demographically motivated as well, despite the like national socialist gloss that they give to it.
I found that fascinating and depressing to see how, okay, he's not a fascist, or when you make these claims, like how that goes too far is basically what her contention is. And then she asked, was he able to do any of those things? And the point is that, like, yeah, he was thwarted. But apparently you're only a fascist if you win.
Let's give him some more reps at it. Saagar and Jetty make the same point. Like, well, he couldn't really do it, and he didn't really do it, but let's give him 4 more years to try, knowing what he knows now. Well, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah.
Well, it's such a moving goalpost, too, because it goes from, like, okay, he's not in favor of those things to like, okay, yes, he is in favor of those things, but he wasn't able to do them. And you see like Republicans whose main role it is to like run interference for Trump, who are more media savvy, play this like card all the time. Was like, he's just saying those things to trigger lips. He's go, okay, well, we have evidence of him trying to do those things, like actually try to, enact what he says. They go, okay, but he wasn't able to do it. It's like, that's, you can't fight with that, because until he does it, then suddenly it's not like there's no provable point. It's the same argument people make about Israel's genocide in Palestine, where it's like
100%.
there are still some Gazans alive, so it can't be genocide. It's like, that's not how it works. And I would also just point out, you can read Umberto Eco about fascism, but when you're talking about neo-fascism, or at least fascism that takes place in the aftermath of Nazi Germany, in the aftermath of Italian Mussolini fascism, you have to understand that fascists are able to disguise fascism better because they understand that fascism is simply not popular. There is a reason why even people on the right, when they're accusing socialists of, being anti-liberal or illiberal, use the word word fascist because they know fascism as a political project has been extremely delegitimized due to the
or the word Nazi, Brandon, right?
Yeah,
like
Nazi.
These right wingers, so many of these people that are actual Nazis in terms of the core of their ideology, but they won't brand themselves as that in public at the very least.
They'll try to brand Nazis as socialists. They'll be like, oh, they were national socialists, a complete canard, a complete red herring. But, you just have to be aware that neo-fascists nowadays understand that what they are preaching is not popular. And that's why they have to launder it into modern, mainstream political discourse with any number of just like sleights of hand that help them, escape identification. But Trump isn't able to do that. He just says straight up fascist stuff. And then people who are defending him have to try to launder it or disguise it as something different than it is.
Yeah, and I've on Left Reckoning we've talked a lot about the definition of fascism and that sort of thing. And Robert Paxton is another definition of fascism that I think pretty much indicts Trump, and he traces it back to the Klan as like a early form of neo-fascism. Richard Evans is a historian who makes that point about a militaristic society being a difference between the original fascists and now. And I think that sort of taxonomy and academic distinguishing is valuable. But this thing where it's mainly about you're too alarmed is a big problem for me, and I don't think it's well-founded.
And even under that definition, in terms of the militarism, you could make a case for neo-fascism and with the level of armaments that like a certain level of our population has. If you wanted to basically say that they could be galvanized into some sort of action against the groups that are being targeted. I think that's a very fair academic perspective on fascism. But yeah, just the claim essentially that it's hysterical to make these accusations or to call him a fascist. Well, I would say that a conversation between Mark Milley and Anna is in order, or with these other Trump administration officials that have said, his former chief of staff, the very same things, where they don't have an incentive to do so in any regard. They're just saying what they heard. We know from Ivana Trump's divorce proceedings that at least she claimed that he had a speech of Hitler's
had the sequel to Mein Kampf is how it was marketed, which is the speeches of Adolf Hitler.
Right.
And that seems to be, I mean, if she made that detail up, she had a great divorce lawyer, because they probably said like, oh, Mein Kampf is too obvious, go with this. No, I think it's probably because Trump did have a collection of Hitler speeches at his bedside table.
But that's
Mein Kampf is too mainstream. He's more into like the Hitler deep cuts.
B-sides.
B-sides.
But like what adds credibility to her claim is what we've heard from like people that worked with him and what he says in private and then what he says in public. So the question is, how credulous are you going to be to these right wingers? And it seems that she's made an assessment that at this point that she lends them a lot of credence and gives them a lot of flexibility in terms of like what they claim publicly, matching what they claim in private, and what that political ideology really means for people in this country. And so I found that despicable, to be honest with you. It's all doing whatever you want because you feel like it's better for your career makes total sense. But to downplay the threat of Trump, especially after what we saw at the Madison Square Garden rally, which was an attempt to gesture towards the Bund Nazi rally of 85 years ago, to downplay that in this moment, I feel like is a real disservice and frankly irresponsible.
I mean, also, like, it's not necessarily just a right-wing opinion to like do stuff like this. People talk about how liberals run interference for fascists all the time, and it's not always just like a concerted effort because they want to like increase their brand or like make money via like riding the coattail to fascism. Sometimes it really is just not wanting to acknowledge that things are as bad as they seem. There is this goes back towards what we were talking about with the normalization of Trump, normalization of like the Republican Party becoming more outright fascism that the media has engaged in as well. Some of that is just because like their liberal audiences don't really want to hear about how bad America is becoming. They want they want to have this deniability. They want to put their head into the sand for the reason that she kind of gestured towards, where like, if Trump really is a fascist and he gets elected, you might actually have to do something about that. Like, just continuing to ride out many, many years of fascism. I'm not saying something physical about it, but you might have to engage in politics beyond voting. You might have to engage in, political direct action in a more sustained way if there's a real problem. Some governors might have to do things that ensure the rights of their state. Like, anything that is beyond simply just waiting it out might be necessary if you concede that he's a fascist. And so there is like this, there is this incentive psychologically and socially to pretend he's not as bad as he seems. And I'm not saying that's what she's doing, but there's an audience amongst liberals for this kind of content as well, which is that like things aren't so bad. It's not just Republicans who want to believe that. It's just, people in the center whose lives are pretty good under the status quo and want to believe that things can be good.
Yes, and I'm sorry, but I'm still just flummoxed by the complete, threadbare nature of the argument that you can't assess someone's political ideology or their intentions if they're not able to be successful in their efforts, specifically in this country where Trump was really only stopped because of the threadbare liberal institutions that we still have that we're people are trying to essentially maintain, but that they're not necessarily robust enough. And that could be easily done away with a second time around, especially now that Mike Pence has been replaced for Peter Thiel acolyte J.D. Vance, who is more than happy to go along with this very project. And these are just fundamentally facts that if you're on a progressive network and you're making claims like this, downplaying this very nature, again, as I mentioned earlier, you're to the right of independents, you're to the right of Nikki Haley voters. But it does make sense if primarily you're trying to monetize resentment towards like a certain kind of liberal hysteria versus actually trying to assess things for what they are.
And if we're talking about, say, the responsibility of broadcasters here, what did she say about if you think he's a fascist, you should be doing X? Like, I agree with Brandon. I think we are in a threat of fascism in this country. I think we have been basically for a long time. And it does require more than voting.
Sorry. I just meant to say, like, we have credibility on this given how we've criticized Israel policy and that being a way, like a backslide into fascism as well, abroad at least.
But what was she saying about if you think he's a fascist, then you'd be acting differently? Because I think that's a pretty dangerous statement to be saying.
Yeah.
Like, is that, like, I don't know what type of message people are going to be taking from something like that. I think that the response has to be not say, I don't know, extreme violent action because you think he's Hitler and you want to become, I forget the guy who tried to kill Hitler. Like the
a lot
actual,
of people.
Right, exactly. Like the response has to be political action and organized and not a sort of like terroristic or decapitation response. And I don't know, like you have a lot of people listening to you and they might come to the degree that the conclusion that it is fascism. And then what did you just suggest that they should do about that?
That's odd, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people have resisted, a lot of times people don't want to acknowledge the fascistic impulses of the West, both domestically towards marginalized populations, and then also like, how imperialism that the West inflicts upon like populations of global South is in many ways fascistic. But people have been resisting fascism without direct violence for a long time. Like you can take actual lessons from the civil rights movement. Like if you feel like you have to resist fascism in America, you can take lessons from MLK, from Malcolm X about types of civil disobedience that does not require violence, but highlights the fascistic impulses of your society. So like it's not a so black and white where it's like if you believe Trump is in fact a fascist, you have to go out there and like
set the Reichstag on fire.
Well, I was going to say, I forget who assassinated like Franz Ferdinand before the first World War. But like you can highlight for the rest of America via disobedience that like this is a crackdown on the fascist state. But that would require acknowledging that America's history has many fascistic elements to it that is leading us to this moment.
Yeah, right. And a lot of people aren't ready to make that leap.
Which is why I like Paxton's inclusion of the Klan. And he's not like a communist or anything like that. The Communist International has a good definition of fascism, but that it includes sort of like the Klan nationalism type of thing. I think, it does say how do we fight this?
Lots of people... Go ahead, Brandon.
I'm going to say this fascism, it's not, it doesn't always look like Nazi Germany. And that's one of the big lessons about that you should take from World War II and all the precursors to it in the aftermath of it, is that fascism is historical, it takes place in specific historical context. So it oftentimes looks different or has different specific elements to it. Sorry, I'm hopped up on this Halloween candy today. So it's not always so all or nothing. Like sometimes populations within a society are subjected to fascism while others aren't.
Right, 100%.